I'm on a mission to change the narrative on human healing, to tell human beings that you are born in a miracle. Doesn't matter how old you are. My oldest client is 66.
Oh,
And
that's
I'll tell you,
awesome.
Terri, she has come off a lifelong sentence of medications for insomnia. She's now sleeping through.
That is an excerpt from an incredible conversation that you're about ready to hear in this episode. You're going to meet my friend, Roxeanne Hardenburg. Now, if you are in the Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi world, there's a pretty good chance that you've already heard of Roxeanne because she was featured in front of 1 million people. Yep, you heard that right, 1 million in their global mastermind virtual event. That's a big deal. And then she was most recently featured on the cover of their Mastermind magazine. That's a big deal too. Now, she won't make a big deal out of it, but I'm going to, and you're going to see what a powerhouse she is. I say #goals for all of us. We dive in and talk about all the things, her story, her journey to healing, and how she can help you step forward and take control of your health and your life. And we even dive in and talk about what it's like growing an online business. Today, Roxeanne is a longevity and precision health hacking specialist and the founder of Essential Farmaceuticals. After living with 15 complex health conditions, including stage 4 endometriosis, IBS, insulin resistance, and even a severed spinal cord, Roxeanne became her own case study when she was denied medical intervention during lockdown in 2020. With 25 years of IT and data experience behind her, she just pulled herself up by the bootstraps and mapped out her own path to healing, and she did exactly that. Today, Roxeanne helps so many people around the world take back control of their own health and reduce systemic inflammation, recover from pain, fatigue, weight gain, and so much more. And dare I say, even reduce your cellular age. She uses tools that actually work through her Bounceback Body Blueprint to rebuild your body from the inside out. Her system combines DNA-based analysis through her own labs, and they are rooted in botanical biohacking, nutraceutical stem cell activation, and DNA-informed nutrition. Her approach is practical, personalized, and proven. Let's dive in. Hello, beautiful Redlo women. How are you today? It's Terri here, your coach and biggest cheerleader. I'm here to put a little bit of inspiration in your day. Welcome to the Redlo Women podcast, where we empower midlife women to reclaim their confidence, rise higher, and step boldly into their next chapter. And we do it together. I became a midlife entrepreneur after overcoming my own self-doubt to start this podcast, write my book, and coach women just like you. And I did it all in my 50s. I knew I wanted more after navigating my own life transitions, overcoming some really hard things, and trying to figure out what was next. As I did, I decided to help you do the same. So grab your warm cup of coffee or step into your favorite tennis shoes and let's step forward together. Let's go. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Redlo Women podcast. I am so excited about my guest today. And as you heard in the intro, she is a powerhouse. And when you look at her Facebook banner, you will see, I can, I will, watch me. And that just speaks to my heart. She's a woman after my own heart. And you're going to hear this today. You're going to be mind blown just by who she is and the incredible support that she offers women, midlife women right here. This is an ideal audience for the women that she really helps step forward and heal their bodies. So without further ado, I'm so excited for you to meet Roxeanne Hardenburg. Thank you so much for being here. I'm just so excited you're here.
Oh, thank you so much, Terri, for inviting me. I have been wanting to be on your podcast since you birthed the project. And so I feel very honored to be able to share my story and have the platform to do it. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And just kind of a quick backstory. We met, I tell everyone, I've met so many amazing women, men and women, but a lot of the women here that are on the podcast just through our online communities. And that's where you and I met originally, even through my husband. And then we formed a small group. And so I just am so excited, A, about the connection, and B, just to watch you grow. And I think you are just really incredible with what you do, Roxeanne. And I'm excited for you to share your story and just to help other women that need you. So let's dive in a little bit because you have an incredible story. That's what first captured our attention, both Scott and I. And so let's kind of start there. And we'll just kind of go with this wherever this goes. You're so good just sharing who you are and doing this extemporaneously. So let's kind of give everybody a little background of who you are and kind of how you've landed here. So tell us a little bit where you're from because you've got an amazing accent. um, so let's
Yeah,
dive
great
in.
place. Okay, great place to start. Well, I'm South African, if you can hear by the twang. I live in Scotland, in the northeast of Scotland on the coastline up in the UK. Immigrated here just before the world went into lockdown, so it was a really crazy time for an immigrant doing a 5-year stint, getting my papers and everything. It was a very trying time on a whole different level. And so yeah, that's what brought me over here. And sorry, what was your next question?
Oh, I'm like, just share a little bit about your journey.
Yes,
How,
my journey.
yeah, how you got,
Sorry.
because you're
There's
wearing a
so much to
shirt.
share. There's
I
so
know.
much to share. So I moved here for a better life, better security, better medical care, coming from a third world country, also having a long list of health conditions that I was managing for about 35 years. I mean, I'm 45 this year, next month actually. But from about the age of about 4, 5 years old, I had severe IBS. I was born with gut issues. My mother couldn't breastfeed me. I was allergic to breast milk, which actually really did start the issues because if you know anything about the bacteria in the gut and how there's a very unique strain of bacteria. I can never remember the name. It's very unique, and you can only get it from a mother's breast milk. And so
Wow.
babies that are not able to breastfeed or can't have breast milk are almost born with a bit of a disadvantage. I mean, I only learned this last year, although I've been doing this now for years, but every year I'm always learning. Every day is a school day, right, Terry? We're
Yeah.
always learning something. And that was pivotal for me because I understood why I was so sick from a young age. I was very active. Over the years, my mum didn't give us sugar. We hardly ever had medications and stuff. But I tended to battle. I battled with my gut. And then over the years, I was diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis, bowel endometriosis, ovarian cysts that were always rupturing, and just really having a lot of struggles as a woman with women's health issues. Um, and then on top of that, having other health issues. When I turned 31, I had a emergency spinal surgery, which left me paralyzed from the waist down, told I'd never walk normally again, had the back of a 50-year-old, was diagnosed with degenerative disc disease. And I mean, it just felt like, one day it's raining, the next day it's pouring. Like, does it ever stop?
Right.
And I'm a big go-getter.
Yep.
I've got that mentality that, if it can be done, I'm going to do it. And if I don't know how to do it, I'll figure out how to do it. But when you have so many health issues constantly pulling you back, life becomes a struggle and a juggle to just get by. And so I met my husband, what was it, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, back in South Africa. And he'd already lived in Scotland for many years. He worked on the rigs and stuff. And he said, look, why don't you come back to Scotland with me? It's a beautiful place. And he took 4 years to convince me. And eventually I just gave in. I was like, fine, let's do it. And it was a great experience, although I did not know what was going to hit me. I did not know, well, nobody knew, right? The
Right.
pandemic was, I mean, we didn't know that that was going to happen. But for anyone that knows me, I've got a backup plan for everything. It's probably just my background in IT and having businesses of my own, managing other people's businesses. It's always good to have a contingency and a backup plan. And when the world went into lockdown, my accessibility to medical support, financial support, any kind of support kind of just fell to the waistline because I was here with my husband and that was all I had. I couldn't get back to South Africa. The borders were locked because of the pandemic. This was July 2020. So it was like the height, it was like the worst time for lockdown. The
Wow.
whole world had gone into lockdown by that stage and everybody was in fear. I think a
Yeah.
year later, everybody kind of started realizing we can get through this. We just need to figure things out. But in 2020, it was scary, very scary
Yeah.
time. And so that's how my journey started. And I was supposed to go back to South Africa in May 2020. I had a ticket to go back home. I was here on a visit visa, so I actually wasn't allowed to stay longer than that. And I was going to go back home and top up on my homeopathic medications because I'd been on those since I was 28. I gave up on the medical system when they just kept on operating all the time and removing body parts. And I was just tired of being a lab rat, always
Yeah.
having surgery. And so I discovered the homeopathic route was the best way to manage my symptoms, not get to the root cause though, which I've now learned how to do. But it was a way for me to just get by and to still work and be successful and stuff. But then when I got stuck here, they wouldn't allow me to get my meds from back home. I remember them saying, well, if it was medical, like pharmaceutical medication, and it had a code, we could bring it over. But it's hokey pokey stuff. It's, plant based, so we won't bring it over. And I remember actually really panicking. I mean, I
Yeah.
lived with that chronic anxiety, which I think goes hand in hand with health issues.
Mm.
I lived with chronic anxiety since a teenager. I used to have lots of panic attacks, and I was always on meds for anxiety, meds for the pain, meds for inflammation, meds for everything. Homeopathic, of course, but I needed medication.
Yeah.
And so I spiraled, and I'll never forget a phone call during lockdown with a very a specialist, gynecologist specialist in the ward for endometriosis, and she was saying to me on the phone, "Look, we can't take you in because of the pandemic and the virus and whatnot. You've already come in twice. We've let you come in, the emergency. I was bleeding internally. I thought I was going to
Wow.
die from the pain. And they did a scan and then sent me home with medication and said, well, we can't do treatment. We can't do surgery. Respectfully, I understand. Everybody was getting turned away. And I'll never forget, Terry, the day that she said to me, I know you don't want to hear this. And I believe you that you're in pain. I believe you. I know you're not going crazy. But this is the best that we can do for you. This
Wow.
is the best. And I remember putting the phone down and just thinking to myself, oh my God, no one's coming for me.
Mm.
And I actually have goosebumps whenever I talk about this story because I remember the day when that happened. I had no backup plan. I literally was losing the will to live. I was so sick. I was rejecting medicine. My body, I was throwing up. I was losing weight, but like looking unhealthy. Like I just was looking deathly. My husband used to have to rock me to bed every night. I would cry myself to sleep. Like the
Oh,
pain was
wow.
so bad. The painkiller stopped working. The morphine stopped working. Everything stopped working. And I remember saying to the big guy upstairs, because I'm not religious, but I'm very spiritual. And I just remember saying, like, dude, either take me or save me. But you're going to have to do something because I actually don't know what to do anymore. Like, I have no other next step. And I
Wow.
woke up on my 40th birthday, 27th of July, with this incredible will to just want to live, will to want to keep pushing just one day, will to just research a little bit more. It was like I just woke up with, the flame was lit again. I
Yeah.
felt like my match had just died. And from that day forward, I just didn't give up, and
Mm.
I've never stopped. I became hooked on healing. I tapped into a very good, my bestest friend in the world, who also learned how to come back from a number of health issues many years before me, though. And she just said, "Look, Rox, tap into this, tap into that, look at
Mm.
this, research that." And I must have spent about 22 hours a day. Yes, literally, because I couldn't sleep. I was in so much pain. And I'm a researcher by nature. I can find anything on the internet. I know how to cross-reference medical archives, journals. I'm very skilled that way.
Yeah.
And it just dawned on me that, well, hang on, all my health issues have inflammation in common. So what's inflammation? Well, what causes inflammation? Okay, well, how can we starve it? Well, what can we stop doing that causes inflammation? And that's how my brain works. Like
Yeah.
whatever makes it worse, do less of that. Whatever makes it better, do more of that. I mean, it's not rocket science, right? It's easier said than done though when you don't know where to start. But
Right.
that's how I looked at it.
Right.
And everything has the gut in common. Or everything's linked to the gut. And at that time, Terry, the only thing that I thought was possible that was within my means was
Mhm.
to stop the gut pain, like stop the pains in my stomach. I mean, it was diarrhea one day, constipation the next, bleeding nonstop because of the endometriosis. But the gut, my stomach, I mean, it
Mm.
felt like I can't even explain the pain. And so when I started to feel better, like one morning I just woke up and the pain subsided a bit
Yeah.
where I could actually breathe. Like, when you go, oh my God, it's like
Yeah.
when you have a really bad headache and you take a painkiller,
Yeah.
that initial when it just subsides, you're like, I can breathe again.
Yeah.
I had that and I
Mm.
forgot what that felt like. And I was hooked from that day on. I was like, oh my God, I'm onto something. And then the next day and the next day. And within a week, I felt a little bit better. And I was like, okay, what am I doing? So I journaled. I mean, I looked like, Einstein when you see these windows, glass when he's writing on everything.
Right.
That's what my bedroom became. I just started writing on everything and mapping out and looking at things. And so that's how my journey started, actually. It was a crazy time. I didn't see it coming. I never thought that that's what would happen for me. But I figured out after 16 weeks, so 4 months in, I completely healed my gut. Like when
Mm.
I tell you completely, I cured. And I know a lot of people are a bit it's trepidation around that word cure.
Yeah.
You can't cure this and you can't cure that. If you look up in the dictionary the word cure, it
Yeah.
quite literally says to be free of symptoms of disease. That's what
Wow.
cure means, right?
Wow.
So after 16 weeks, I had no more stomach issues. I had normal bowel movements again. I mean, I never had that from like ever. I was born with issues. I was like, oh my God, the body can actually heal. Like, wow. And I was using essential oils, medical grade, very high potent that somebody had gifted me. And I was like, well, what have I got to lose? I'm going to start drinking peppermint. Peppermint, we all know, is good for digestion. And so I kind of just was like going back to basics in my mind and going, well,
Right.
herbs is good for you. I always knew herbs were good for you. Homeopathic meds was my thing. So I knew that herbs were healthy. But when I hit this level of potency, when you're talking about 1 drop of peppermint essential oil that can be equivalent to the benefit of 28 cups of peppermint tea,
Wow.
28, 28.
One, say that again. 1 drop of
One
peppermint
drop
oil.
of peppermint essential oil, but not just any essential oil. 1 drop of peppermint essential oil is equivalent to the benefit of drinking 28 cups of peppermint tea.
Wow.
But now, if you drink 28 cups of peppermint tea, you're going to have some issues because
Yeah.
that's quite a lot of That's quite a lot of tea to drink. Number one, and so I started just using these things internally because what did I have to lose, right? And so I like to tell this story. I like to tell people I healed by default.
Hmm.
I didn't actually know what I was doing at the time. I had
Yeah.
no other choice. And I decided everything that I was doing up until that point, eating gluten-free, fat-free, right? Lactose-free, you name it. I was doing it all the way the nutritionists, dietitians, all these experts were telling me to do. And I thought, well, none of that's working. I'm just
Hmm.
going to do the opposite and see what happens then. Because what have I got to lose, right? And that's exactly what I did. And then after a couple of weeks, I started feeling so much better, so much quicker, though. I didn't know what was going on. I just knew I felt so much better. And then after about 7 months, yeah, it was 7 months in, I had my first pain-free period. I'd never had that in my life.
Wow. Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? Like, I didn't, that's why I say I healed by default. So I
Yeah.
healed my gut, and then all these other health issues started to come right over time. I lost the last of my 60 pounds. I'd gained 60 pounds. Most of my weight gain was in my 30s because I was on all kinds of hormone treatments from those injections that take your period away. I was on those for 8 years. I really stuffed up my body, didn't know any better. It's not our fault. We told by our specialists,
Right.
this is what we should be doing. And I don't knock the doctors, Terry. I must make this very clear to anybody who's listening to this. I don't knock Western meds. I don't knock the surgeons and the doctors. I don't think I'd be here today if it was for them.
Mm.
I've bled out on the table many times.
Right.
I've been knocked over by a motorbike when I was 21 that then led on to having, a disc that completely herniated and severed my spinal cord. I mean, these are complicated surgeries where these doctors are saying we've never had to perform a surgery of this type before. Like
Wow.
endometriosis, they've never had such a complicated situation in 2021. In 2011 with my spine, I was interviewed by the professor in the hospital. Like these are like the worst level, the worst, and they
Right.
saved me. They helped me. They
Right.
got me in a situation where I could repair and figure things out. I'm on a mission to change the narrative on human healing, to tell human beings that you are born in a miracle. Doesn't
Mm.
matter how old you are. My oldest client is 66.
Oh,
And
that's
I tell you,
awesome.
Terry, she has come off a lifelong sentence of medications for insomnia. She's now sleeping through the night.
Wow.
In fact, that was within her first month. She started sleeping through the night. She's come off years of antidepressants on her own. She
Wow.
has started to lose weight. She said she feels reborn again. She's doing things that she never thought she could do again. So don't
Wow.
think it's an age thing. It's got
Wow.
nothing to, whether you're 16, 26, or 66. Your body obviously heals a lot quicker when you're younger.
Mm.
But yeah, so I'm on a mission to change the narrative on human healing and to bring Western medication and doctors and surgeons to meet me in the middle, actually,
Mm.
where they prescribe, they diagnose, they perform surgery. We need them.
Right.
But then, as an outpatient, you need to look at a different approach to actually heal your body, to actually on a cellular
Mm.
level, which is what I figured out how to do. And then fast forward past 7 months, 2022, I invested in a private test, a world leading research lab for longevity and inflammation-based diseases. Biological age, I'm sure everybody knows,
Yeah.
everyone's talking about bio. Well, what really is that?
Yeah.
So your biological age is the rate at which your cells are healing, right?
Mm.
So someone who's in their 20s heals a lot quicker. I mean, you know, remember your younger days where you could go partying on a Sunday and then be at work bright and early on a Monday? I mean, we can't
Yeah.
even do that as adults. It takes a week
Yeah, exactly.
because
Exactly.
their cells are restoring quicker because they're
Ah.
younger, but they have a biological. Does it make sense?
Yep. Yep.
So I tested mine when I turned 42 years old, chronologically, and it came back that I'd reversed my biological age by 22 years, which means that I'd slowed down my aging. The
Wow.
cells were replenishing a lot quicker, which is why I look younger, feel younger, can bounce back quicker, which is why the premise of my program is called the Bounceback Body Program. And I always used to tell people, I can't explain it to you, but I feel like I'm in my 20s again. Like,
Ah.
I don't know how to explain it. Like, I'm just got all day energy, no brain fog. I'm like a sponge, meaning I can read things and listen to things and I can remember them. I mean, I couldn't even do that at school. I battled
Wow.
it as a child because of my gut issues. So I got super excited about like this new body that I had.
Yeah.
And then yes, that made sense as well. Why I had reversed all my health conditions. I had an MRI of my spine done in 2022 as well, and it was confirmed that there was no more compression on my spine. My discs had all regenerated. They were fine. The neurosurgeon even looked at my, or the neurologist even looked at my before scan of my spine in
Yep.
2011 and said, "This can't be yours. Like it's
Wow.
medically impossible to heal a severed spinal cord." And I said, "Well, I'm here, proof."
Wow.
So I went home that day and I said to my husband,
Wow.
"My gosh, I've just healed something else. I don't even know how I did it, but I'm gonna find out." I then took to the books and I researched and I'm like, what would cause you to be able to heal a severed spinal cord? And then mitochondria popped up. I didn't even know what mitochondria was.
Wow.
I was like,
Wow.
what is mitochondria? Oh, okay, let's learn this, let's learn that. And so I just went about it backward. I healed by default, reverse engineered it, and then figured out how to articulate that to people. I think that was my biggest problem, Terry. I didn't know how to talk about what I'd done.
Well, because you're on the leading edge of some of this, and I mean, I know your story a little bit, but every time I hear you, I become completely speechless. And I'm reminded, like, first of all, I just want everybody, people can't see you because this is audio right now, but the first thing I said to you was, wow, you look younger and younger. Every time I see you, there's no lines on your face. Your eyes are bright. And I love it. You've got this shirt on that says anti-aging in process, progress. So I love it. I mean, it's fascinating. And that's why I'm excited to just let you just talk and tell your story because it's jaw dropping. It really is. It blows my mind every time I hear you. So keep going. It's just unreal. And the very fact that you reversed your age, like I'm next. I'm like, woo, I want to reverse my cellular age. Let's
Absolutely,
go.
absolutely. Because people think we're too quick to say, oh, it's old age, or the
Yeah.
doctors. I'm sorry to say this, but there's, that percentage of them, they go, oh, don't worry, Terry. I know that you're saying you feel this way and feel that way, but normal with it's normal for a woman of your age. I want to slap somebody when they say that. I'm like,
Yeah.
what does that mean? Oh, well, you're 45, 55, whatever your age is, it's normal. It's natural.
Yeah.
It's not normal. You should rather
Right.
just say it's common. It's not normal. It's common. It's
Oh,
common amongst women of your age. It's not normal.
oh, I
The
love
whole thing
that.
with menopause as well is that you can quite literally transition. And I know people listening to this right now are saying, oh, man, this woman doesn't know what she's talking about. She's only 45. So
Mm.
I had full-blown menopause when I was 27. I was chemically
Wow.
induced into full-blown menopause. I had an implant that it really wrecked my health. I actually lost my mind. I lost my job for the first time ever. I didn't know, I couldn't think, I had all the symptoms. So I know what menopause is like,
Yeah.
right? There
Yeah.
is a way to transition between menstrual to perimenopause, menopause, and post
Mm.
without suffering and losing your mind. There is actually a
Mm.
way. The only thing that you need to figure out is hormone regulation. So what are
Mm.
hormones, Terry? Hormones are signals that think about it like a call center, a big building with call center and different level. One level's estrogen, next one's progesterone, then you got testosterone, then you got cortisol, then you got melatonin. I mean, they're all different hormones, right?
Right.
Each of them are responsible for sending a different signal to the brain, a different
Mm.
message, telling the brain to tell the legs to walk, telling the brain to tell the legs to run. Oh my God, there's a lion chasing us. That's cortisol, adrenaline. Telling the ovaries, the uterine lining to start to shed. That's
Mm.
progesterone. Telling the uterine lining to grow before your period comes. That's estrogen. So we have too
Wow.
much estrogen, and it's not the estrogen that our body produces either. It's called xenoestrogens. It's foreign estrogens outside of our body that mimics estrogen, and it's very toxic. And it comes in all the beauty products, perfumes, fragrances, food, cleaning chemicals, anything and everything that is made in a factory. Because you can actually
Wow.
make your own chemicals. I wear natural perfumes that come from the plants that smell better. All those things that have man has come in and try to make cheaper versions of everything so that they can make it readily available and put money into their pockets. That's how it is. And
Yeah.
those things are causing issues with the communicators. So the big problem amongst women and men who have man boobs,
Yep.
that's too much estrogen.
Hmm. Mm.
So it's not just
Yeah.
a woman, it's a man thing too. Cancer, that's too much estrogen. Breast cancer, which is why women who have too much
Wow.
estrogen can be at risk of breast cancer. Endometriosis is too much estrogen. Ovarian cysts, tumors of any kind, fibroids, too much estrogen.
Wow. So does so much of this really boil down to too much estrogen?
So much of this boils down to the miscommunication of hormones, the signals in our body. Through a 30-day cycle, a woman has different signals going off in her body. And I learned this from Dr. Mindy Pulse, who is the
Oh, I
Tony
love
Robbins
mint.
of hormones, right?
Yeah.
Because I figured out how to do this in 2021. You see, from 2020 to 2021, I healed my body, reduced inflammation and pain and weight gain, but ruined my hormones doing so. I didn't know what I was doing. Okay, I was learning. I started losing too much weight, started losing muscle mass, doing keto too well, doing fasting on the wrong days. Intermittent fasting plummets your hormones, right?
Mm.
So I started then learning in 2021 how to do it as a woman, not as a human.
Ah.
Women have different hormones, different hormone regulations. So if you learn how the different hormones, what their messages are, which is why a woman who doesn't get periods often, and she should be having them, has too much estrogen and doesn't have enough progesterone, because
Mm.
estrogen and progesterone work on a seesaw. If you have too much of one, you have too little of the other. Women who have very heavy periods, like super heavy, have
Yeah.
too much progesterone.
Ah.
Estrogen is a growth hormone. So that's
Mm.
why cysts, fibroids, tumors, cancer, etc. So when I learned this, I was like, oh, hang on. This makes this easy if you think about it. Because that's how my brain breaks things down, right? Decompartmentalizes everything. So if you know, based on your symptoms, based on the DNA tests that I run, so I have a lab anywhere that a courier company can get your sample from your home, I can test. I have labs all around the world.
Wait, hold
I
on.
can
Pause
tell
one
you.
second. Pause 1 second.
Mm,
So people can do this lab, which, because we are going to talk about that. They can do the
we
lab
can do
from
lab
their
testing
home.
from home. Yes.
Okay. Very
So
good.
it's a
Okay.
simple, very affordable, extremely affordable, because I want to make this possible for everybody, right?
Yeah.
You can literally send either a hair sample or a blood sample. There's different types of tests for different types of things. And I can tell you what your biological age is, which is actually proven to also tell you where you'll be with your health in 10 years' time. So, for example, for me, even though in 2022 I was told that I had this incredible biological age, it was also flagged that I had cardiovascular inflammation.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's different. That's different to your biological age.
Okay.
Biological age, that's systemic inflammation. That's inflammation-based diseases and stuff. But cardiovascular, which made sense for me because I had anxiety from a young child.
Yeah.
So I then invested in the Aura Ring. So I'm
Mm.
partners. The Aura Ring is the most advanced way of measuring all kinds of biomarkers, not biomarkers, sorry, metrics, health metrics, your heart rate variability, which is super important because it's linked to your cortisol, which is a
Mm.
hormone that when you are over 40 or 45, if you have that belly and you
Yeah.
can't get rid of it, it's cortisol, which is
Mm.
affecting. It's a stress hormone. So I then figured out, okay, so hang on, my heart rate variability, my heart's under a bit of pressure here. I need to figure that out. I was always looking
Yeah.
to figure everything out, right? And then in June 2024, last year, June, the Aura app actually tells you this. It was proven that I had reversed my cardiovascular age by 7 years.
Wow,
So
Roxanne.
I was super impressed because I was like, oh my God, the same approach, nothing's different here, same approach. We test certain biomarkers, we collect the data, and then we create a precision. I say we because I have a team now. We create a precision healing blueprint based on your, whether you're a man or a woman, what your age, where you are in your cycle, what your symptoms are, and what
Mm-hmm.
any diagnosed conditions that you have, and what medication you're on as well.
Mm.
And then I can help you learn how to wean off the meds with the safety of your doctor as well, how to go from using pharmaceutical pain medication to natural but very effective, right? And then how to balance your hormones, all of them. So there's
Wow.
a hierarchy of hormones. You need to figure out the top one, which is insulin. Well, Dr. Minipal says it's oxytocin, which you get from hugging and being around animals, and you need that, right? But
Right.
insulin is the master hormone that affects cortisol and estrogen. And so I hope I haven't lost anybody listening to this, but
No, it's incredible. And so when you do this, when you do the test, you do an assessment of a person specific to them. You ask them all these questions. They send in these samples. You also, so you talk about, which I'd love to talk about too, you do the oils, some of these natural things that you prescribe. And then you also do dietary things, like you talk about their diet, I'm assuming, because that's such a big part of it, right?
it is very big part. Yes, it's a
Yeah.
very big component because it's related to your blood sugar, and that is connected to everything, right?
Right.
So yes, I studied after I started healing my body, and a whole lot of people asked me how I was doing it. I realized, okay, let me just get some certifications in this area of expertise in case it was just me that struck it lucky. And so I became certified in therapeutic carbohydrate restriction, aka ketosis. But
Yeah.
there's many ways to do keto, so you want to be careful. So I do it the way that we've done it thousands of years ago, right? And then I also studied herbalism, but specifically working with phytochemicals, which is phyto means plant, and chemical constituents that come from plants are essential oils. That's what essential oils are. People think it's a nice to have. I used to have it in my incense burner, put it in the bath.
Yeah.
No, no, that's not essential oils. This is like real medicine on a whole nother level that helps you detox your liver quickly because your liver is responsible for getting rid of that dirty estrogen.
Yeah.
The liver is also responsible for ketone bodies. So if you want to lose weight, it's good to have a healthy liver. And so I had non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which stemmed from decades of pharmaceutical medication. That was also picked up on that biological test.
Wow.
And so when I figured out the organs in the body, because remember, that's how my brain is, it decompartmentalizes everything. Which organ is responsible for multiple things? Well, then heal that organ first, which is the liver. You need the liver to get rid of all these things, right? And then your heart is obviously very important. We all know
Right.
that. Um, and so yes, it's a combination of diet, very important, but I don't do diets. Diets are not sustainable. I work with food plans. So if you had to tell me, on Sundays, Scott and I and the family love to have pizzas. We love to eat burgers on a Friday night. We love our stir fries, that type of stuff, not salads and like grilled chicken and the usual diet type stuff. I would then say, okay, great. So here's how you can eat all those same foods, but you can swap out. So for example, if you were making your own pizza, I love pizza, then your pizza base wouldn't have wheat-based flour, it would have nut-based flour.
Mm.
And then I would teach you what chemicals create the worst havoc with your hormones, and there's only a
Mm.
few of them, versus having to try and remove all the chemicals from your environment. Because I think this is the problem. We are all living in a content coma. There's far too many things that we need to get rid of and
Mm.
avoid. And I mean, I'm hearing people saying, "Oh, Rox, one day we're going to all die, right?" And I'm like, yeah, I do get that, but dying isn't your problem. It's how long you're going to be living and suffering until you do get to die. How long do you
Mm.
want to be on this planet suffering until that day does come?
Wow,
And I
that's
actually see
so good.
people go, oh, I didn't think about that. I'm like, yeah, do you want to suffer? Or do you like dying's like that? That's the solution. It's gone. Then you no longer suffer, right?
Yeah,
But while
exactly.
you are living, how do you want that to look?
Mm,
So I do not do diets. I just swap out certain things for other things. I make it available on an app. So I'm actually partners with the leading app, Carb Manager, which is all around understanding how to track things like macros and stuff. But you don't even have to do that. I do it for you. So I provide a plug and play system based on your preferences, how you and your family like to eat. I actually help mothers with kids as well, so the whole family benefits. We do family testing as well, so it's not just any kids that are over the age of, I think it's 7 or 8, we can
okay.
test. Even pets. I did the same thing with my cat, who arrived here from South Africa and just had lots of issues, and the vets just kept on giving them steroids. And I was like, well, hang on, don't you guys do tests to see sensitivities and intolerances and environmental? Yeah, but they're very expensive. I said, that's not what I asked. And so we've now done a 2-year venture where my cat is doesn't have any issues. We've
Wow.
replaced a whole lot of things in his immune. So yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. So it can be for anything really, humans, animals. Um, so yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So you are, I mean, so now you are kind of, you partner with the Carb Manager app.
Yes.
You also have, you're founder of the Essential Pharmaceuticals, right? Is that, and so when you're talking, like we were talking about essential oils, like we all think of the ones that we, like you said, we put in the mistifier and let it, burn in our room
Yes.
or whatever. But you're actually
Mhm.
talking too about, essential oils that you actually ingest.
Correct, correct. So the company that I'm partnered with is they're actually the leaders in the industry of essential oils. They set the standard, and this is not my opinion. They set the standard. It's doTERRA. They set the
Oh,
standard for quality in the industry because did you know this? That an essential oil company only needs to put 8%, not 18, not 80, 8% of that plant essence into the bottle to be able to use the word pure on the label. And that's
wow.
FDA required. That's what the FDA requires. So
Wow.
companies are putting hardly any plant essences. They're putting all these synthetic things, which is why your bottle, if it's essential oil and it says it's flammable or toxic, and it's like a herb, like coriander or
Yeah.
basil, which you're supposed to ingest, that's a herb to eat. Why is it so toxic? So
Yeah.
they actually set the standard. I have a fantastic free membership if you want to learn how to get those oils much cheaper. I have a free membership that you'll qualify for immediately if you want to get an account set up. So that is through Essential Pharmaceuticals. That's my company
Okay.
that I founded. So Essential Pharmaceuticals does a number of things from DNA-based testing. Obviously, we offer all kinds of tests from biological aging to methylation. That's also very important.
Okay.
Don't
Explain
think
that.
don't
Explain what.
think popping supplements, don't think popping supplements, whether they are the world's leading brand, okay? Don't think that popping a bunch of supplements is going to get you healthy
Mm,
because there's a process within the body. It's methylation process. This comes down to a whole other discussion on genetics, testing
yeah.
your gene. But if your body doesn't have the ability to make certain nutrients bioavailable, active, put it into an active form that the body can actually utilize it, right? That's just a very
Yeah.
easy way of explaining it. You don't get the benefits.
Right.
So,
Right.
so, so a lot of people are actually are finding that this is the underlying issue. So we can test. That costs a couple of $100. We can test and tell exactly based on your genes what mutations you have, what types of supplements you need to do. Then, what is your route? So it's very bespoke, very personalized, very precise. And then
Mhm.
I have a medical nurse who's trained in critical nurse, a critical. She's ICU based and she's learned how to biohack her body as well. And she's now on my team. And so what we do is we do a virtual assessment based on your diagnosed health conditions, any pharmaceutical medications that you're on. So she brings the Western side
Mm,
value to it. And then together, her and I will map out the right testing based on you and your needs. Not just go, oh,
mm,
well, these are a bunch of great tests and you should buy them. Well,
right.
no, you don't need all of them necessarily. So that's what Essential Pharmaceuticals does. And then we also offer all kinds, pretty much non-stop shop, one-stop shop, non-stop shop, one-stop shop. You're understanding what your body needs on a biological level, what your diet should actually be. Because if you can't break down fat if you have a lipid metabolic, it's called lipid metabolism. So if you have a poor metabolic rate for breaking down fats and you're
Yeah.
on a ketosis diet, you are looking for trouble. You're going to run
Ah,
into much bigger issues. So there's all these factors, which is
wow.
why there's no such, it's not a cookie cutter approach. That's
Yeah.
why I get so annoyed when people go, oh, you should try the inflammation diet, or you should try the endometriosis diet, or we're all different.
Wow.
What's working for one person doesn't work for the other, and this is the reason why. So we take care of diets, then we also take care of supplements. So I'm partnered with leading experts in that field as well. So typically the clients that work with me are people who are ready to start healing, who
Hmm.
are ready to start investing in the right types of tests, the right types of supplements, and then I deliver to your door, based depending on where you are. But I'm in most countries. I cover mainly the UK, the US, Europe, and South Africa. I
Okay.
can deliver I can deliver to your door these testing kits as well as supplementation kits. I can create meal plans if you're into cooking, depending on what country you're in. Although actually all of those regions now, I can also have home cooked meals delivered to you. So, I got a lot of women that are entrepreneurs and too busy. They're juggling jobs and kids and they don't have time to cook, but they still
Yeah.
need to heal.
Yeah.
So I can fast track that entire process for you, basically.
Awesome. As I'm talking, I mean, I know we've talked a long time, but a lot, not a long time, but we've talked a lot about different things. And for me, I'm just, as you're talking, I'm thinking, I don't know that I break down fat properly because Scott can do it, but I don't know that I can, like the whole keto diet. I don't know why. And I've said to him, I don't know that I really process fat the way you do for sure. Like, so anyway, off camera, we'll talk about this
Isn't it
because I
interesting?
think,
Because you obviously felt that.
yeah, I
You
still
feel it
do.
with
I'm
your
kind of like,
body.
yeah. So the very fact that you're mentioning this today, I'm like, you and I need to have a conversation. And how exciting it is to hear you talk about that each one of us is so different. That's,
Mhm.
each one of us our body processes things differently based on probably the trauma in our life, our own
Yep.
experiences. I'm Hashimoto's. I've got a thyroid issue. And just the healing I've done all these years by not being on gluten, not being on dairy, that part I've nailed down. But other parts now, as I get older, I'm like, I got to be really careful with certain things. So anyway, I'm just excited. Like this is enlightening for me too. Even though I know everything that you do, I'm like, okay, I need you.
Well,
So,
Hashimoto's is also something that we worked with. So yes, a lot of the time people with Hashimoto's are led to believe that it's a thyroid issue, but there's a lot more to that. There's a lot more to
oh,
that.
ah, very good. All right, we'll have a conversation about that. And I'm just excited too, just about all the different tests now that you do that you've partnered with. That's actually something that I kind of wanted to talk about because you have now really leaned into this testing that's
Mhm.
very, very personalized for people and really gives you these results that really help you build a program and coach and guide people right where they are. Not where, like for me, not where Scott is, not where someone else is. It's not this cookie cutter thing. It's very personalized and individualized and
Mhm.
really accurate, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yes, because when you look at when you start working with your own DNA, that doesn't lie if you understand how to look
Right.
at the numbers. And so we're able to aim with precision through that approach. And I've just always had that mindset. Like that's just how I look at things. I
Yeah.
love science and I was never really good at school. I was more sick than anything else with gut issues. But, if I had to explain it, you're taking a little bit of science, you're taking a little bit of biology, and you're taking a little bit of chemistry. Biology is
Mm,
the body. Science is, energy. Everything comes down to energy, as we know. I mean, Tony Robbins is big for that. And then chemistry. Well, that's your essential oils. Those are chemical components. Your cleaning detergents, your fragrances, things in your air. That's chemicals, chemistry.
right.
And our hormones, if you have a look at the chemical charts, or the not chemical charts, but if you have a look at, I don't know how to explain this without sounding too technical, because I'm also not that, and I don't wish to be something I'm not. I'm not a doctor, surgeon, dietitian, nutritionist. I don't need to be any of those things. I have figured out how to break it down into layman's terms, make it easy to
Yeah.
understand where do you need to start, because you don't need
Right.
to know how a car works mechanically to know how to turn the key and get to your destination.
Right.
So for me to explain what's actually happening in the body so that you can understand how to get back into tune with your body as you're healing, you're reconnecting, you're changing your mindset, you're starting to go, oh, like you said, I'm not so sure, Scott, that I actually break down fats as well as you do because you're in tune with your body. You started really listening to that.
Yeah.
So when you have a look at the little bits, when you have a look at your DNA, the question that you asked about precision, when it's DNA based, when it's based on your biology, it's a
Yeah.
blueprint for healing that's based on you. It's based on your body. It's built for your body only, which is why it
Mm,
works so well for your body.
wow.
And
That's
I never had an issue with it so far. I mean, yeah, we're very good at what we do. I'm very good at what I do, and I love what I do. And just seeing people get results within a matter of days
yeah.
when they start to cut out certain things, and a lot of the
Right.
time it's healthy foods that they've
Mm,
been eating. For example, for me, when I did my first test, when lockdown lifted,
yeah.
because I couldn't test during lockdown, I figured out how to heal my body without being able to test. Testing just makes it easy. But when I tested myself the first time, I was shocked because the probiotics that I was taking every month, which were very expensive ones, didn't actually have the bacteria strains in them that the test results showed my gut was missing. I was missing like 8 different strains, and none of them were in my probiotic. And then I looked at the digestive enzymes. My body wasn't actually producing lipase, amylase. There were a few, one that breaks down fats, breaks down
Yep.
carbohydrates. So when I had a look at the digestive enzymes that I was taking every single day, they didn't have those in them either. And I was like, this is making sense why I'm feeling okay, but not feeling amazing. Like
Wow.
something's just, I'm missing something.
Yeah.
And then when I looked at the foods, avocado, broccoli, cauliflower, a lot of the foods that are keto, high fat, low carb, I was eating regularly, but I didn't have the enzyme to break down the high fat. So it was
Wow.
actually causing issues in my body.
Wow. So interesting.
The moment I took all of that out of the equation and then obviously added in the right supplement, the right enzymes, etc. Oh, Terry, I just woke up one day and I was like, I feel better. Like I feel so much better now. And then I caught the virus a few times. I'm non-vaccinated by choice. I chose not to because I did the research and stuff. And when I did catch the virus, I thought I was going to die the first time. But then my body built up a resistance. I knew what to take. Very high
Yeah.
levels of vitamin D3 with K2 and high levels of vitamin C was in acetylcysteine. The things that really just boost your body.
Yeah.
But I bounced back much quicker the second time I got the virus and the third
Hmm.
time I got the virus. So where I'm going with all of this is when you rebuild the scaffolding of your body, when you rebuild the structure, the foundation,
Yeah.
where you've got like a triple story house that you want to build, but you're doing it on like a swampland.
Yeah.
You've got to look at the foundation. The foundation's your gut. So
Yeah.
those are those first steps that we always start with. Doesn't matter who you are, what your health condition is, what your symptoms are. We look at that set of biomarkers. What is
Mm,
your enzymes, your bacteria strains, your nutrients? What are you deficient in as well? I was
yeah.
deficient in a number of vitamins, which are key for the repair of certain things in my body. I was battling with
Wow.
my vision. I was low in vitamin A. So, and you can't just go supplement with vitamin A. You need the active form, retinol. So it's not just I'm just going to go buy a whole lot of supplements because the internet said it's going to help me. No. So yeah, you got to do it from the foundation up, and then the rest really is very technical. So I don't want to go.
Okay.
We could
As
be here all day.
I'm sitting here as I'm listening to you, I do these interviews all the time. You speak beautifully. You are incredibly articulate. You're an incredible storyteller. I'm just captivated, Roxanne. It's just fascinating. Everybody needs you. Let's just put this out
Aw,
there.
thanks. Everyone
Everyone
needs
needs
all of
you.
us.
Like you, I mean, I want everyone just to follow her too because you just have such a gift. You are incredibly intelligent. I love how you've merged, Eastern and Western medicine along with your knowledge, your own experience, which, as we all know now, this knowledge industry is why it's blooming and growing so much because people like you that have had this personal experience, science can't deny, like looking at your x-ray of your spine and the healing, like you can't deny what has actually taken place,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
and so it's wonderful. And I'm excited because I'm going to get Scott and I both to take this test. Finally, we both need to do this.
Oh, you got it. You got it. It's
Woohoo.
really worth it. It's really
We
worth it.
do.
But just on that note, quickly, well, actually, I know you got some other questions that you're going to ask as well. But I always I just need to remind everybody, listening that I mean, yes, okay. I don't want to not take the credit. I mean, I did figure this out. I invented the whole approach of how to mind map all of this and figure it out. But really, if you're not tapping into a mastermind coach that is going to help you get your mindset right, and this is where
Right.
Tony Robbins has been like just so amazing in my life.
Right.
I knew in 2021 that I needed to level up. I
Ah,
would need to really get over myself, get over the
right.
fear of being on the camera, get over the fear of what people might think, get over the naysayers.
Yeah.
Because I was having that left, right, and center, my surge. I'll never forget the day when I went to the hospital. Um, I had just caught the virus for the first time, and my ovaries swelled up like lemons. I mean, I thought I was going to have a ruptured cyst again. And they took me in and they did a scan, and they said, yes, no, it's a 9 centimeter ovarian cyst. And then she was like, no, we're going to book you, we're going to put you on the emergency surgery list for endometriosis. And I was like, no, but hang on, this has got nothing to do with endometriosis. Like, I want you guys to actually do a scan before you want to operate on me again, because when you operated me on me in 2021, I was so in such a bad state. They had me on the operating table for a procedure that takes 45 minutes. I was on the operating table for 3 hours.
Wow.
They didn't even know what to do. It was so bad. They actually
Wow.
closed me up and said, like, you're going to be back in 6 months. We need to figure this out. It's so bad that they didn't want to be sued, basically. They didn't want to go
Ah,
do something that. And I just remember in 2022 when I got the virus and I was in hospital, I just said to them, or I was in the emergency room, I said, you're not going to be having another operation or cutting me up until you do an MRI to first see how things look, because I don't have any of those endometriosis symptoms. I have
ah.
and she looked at me and said to me, well, where do you think your endometriosis is going to go to? In front of a whole ward of
Wow.
her consultants. They all came in like an entourage of them. She didn't like me from day one because I kept on saying to her, no, but I can tell you now, I feel so much better. I don't have those issues anymore. I don't have painful periods. I have regular symptoms, cycles again. And I just remember walking out going, I was so angry.
Yeah.
I was like, how many of us are being told that it can't be done,
Right.
that there's no way to heal from this, that it's incurable?
Right.
Well, I'm here to say medically it might be incurable, but physically it's very curable. It's very possible and it can be
Right.
done and it is being done and I have done it. And I
Right.
won my fight because eventually they took me in for an MRI and I got the report and her words were, we suspect that some of the fluid was endometriosis, but they couldn't tell. They couldn't even say anything about the lesions. It was such a pathetic letter. I was laughing at it going, yeah, because you can't actually say anything because I don't have those lesions anymore. I don't have that scar tissue anymore, and you don't know why. You can't figure it out. Instead of saying, wow, what have you done? Come and tell us so that
Yeah.
we can maybe get some funding into this and be part of the solution. No,
Right. No.
their solution is to just put you on hormone treatments.
Right.
So where I'm going with all of this, I'm very passionate about this topic, as you can hear, is
Yeah.
that I want to collect the data of when things are actually working, because I don't think we get the chance to have that. They only really want to x-ray when things are really, really bad. But
Right.
what about when things are really, really good? So I've collected this data now. I've got it, but I knew at that time that I'm going to need to invest in some mindset coaching, because every time I had the chance to tell my story to an expert, I cringed. I was like, oh, they're not going to believe me. They're going to have a whole lot of objections. And then I'm going to feel like I'm having to like persuade them to believe me. And I actually shied off. I stopped doing
Yeah.
anything about it for about 6 months. I got very quiet online. And then Tony Robbins really did pull me right last year
Yeah.
when he put me on stage. Well, not on stage, but
Uh,
virtually on the big screen in front of like 800,000 people.
yeah.
I, at that point, wasn't in a good place because I was
Ah.
fighting with doctors, fighting with people to get seen for what I'd done. And
Right.
I kind of just lost the wool a little bit. And then I'll never
Mm.
forget that day. I think Scott messaged me, took a photograph, a screenshot, and said, are you seeing this? And I wasn't even on the live that day. And I was like, what the hell? What's going on here?
Yeah.
And that was the kick up the pants I needed.
Mm.
Tony Robbins literally said, come. We're
Yep.
going to give you credit for what you've done now, but you now need to put this into a program, build it on a system so that women worldwide can get access to it. And so I'm
Mm.
trying to say I'm not self-made. Like, I didn't
But
get here because that I've got this grit and tenacity. You need those coaches to push you.
yeah, but you've done the work, Roxanne, and I think that's one of the things I was going to lead into is like I really want to honor that because that was a really powerful moment. I mean, here we are watching this, these challenges. We've been following Tony and Dean for so long. That's Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, and they do these challenges, these mega challenges, and all of a sudden, I mean, in front of I think 900,000, a million people, something like that. I mean, and all of a sudden your face flashes up there. They're giving you all these kudos about the growth that's happened in your business and you've been a part of the mastermind and what you're doing and how you're helping people. And it was such an awesome moment because we have those moments, don't we? Like we work hard, we keep climbing, we don't see the benefits, sometimes we feel like we're, a lone wolf out there. We kind of stumble
Oh, yes.
along the way. We're climbing that mountain. We feel like we're going through the fog, and then all of a sudden, the sun shines.
That is exactly how it felt. Yes, definitely. Especially for myself, being here on my own without my family, not really having any friends here because it's been 5 years now that I've been doing this, and every single day, 6 days of the week, sometimes seven, I'm so dedicated to just continue, documenting what I'm doing, turning it into a program. It's intense. It's intense.
Yeah,
And sometimes you forget the world is just passing you by.
yeah,
And so it is nice to have that recognition and just to go, well, actually, you did do it. You did do
y-
it. Like it's amazing.
exactly. And I want to just say that. So even recently, now they came out and did a whole thing and put you in their magazine,
Yeah,
right?
this
They did
month.
yeah, just recently.
The June again surprise. It was my surprise. They don't tell
Yeah,
you they're going to do that. Yes, somebody, some guy, I don't know who he is, in the mastermind, one of the mastermind groups, tagged me and two other people. So three of us were, I don't know the other people. Sorry, I don't know who they are, but three people, including myself, we were featured in the Mastermind Success magazine. So
yeah.
this month for June edition. And he just tagged me and the two other people and said, "Thank you so much for sharing your story and inspiring the rest of us, to do what we love." And I was like, "What is this guy talking about?" And so I was like, "What magazine is he talking about?" And so Mastermind have the business system, the Mastermind business system, which I built my entire thing on. And so I was like, "Oh, wait, hang on. There is a magazine. They have like a virtual magazine. Every month they talk about stuff." I've
Right.
never even opened it. So I went onto
Yeah.
the system and found where the magazine was and opened it up. And I was like, "Oh my God, there's me." And there's like a little 1 minute, 2 minute little video that I actually submitted 2 years ago because they reached out to me and said to me, like 2023, they reached out and said, "Can you just share a little video of your success, what you've done, and what you've built on the system?" And again, my fear of the camera and what to say. And eventually, I just sent something in. I remember going, "Oh, I hope they don't use it." And I sent it in, and then last year came and went, and they put me on the big screen only. Didn't use the video. I was like, "Oh, thank God they didn't use that video." And then this month they used that video. So my hair is nice and long. Well,
Yeah.
nice. But it took me back. It did. It took me back to when I created that video, or that video sounds so archaic, that little clip, that recording. And yeah, it was milestones that I've achieved since then, since
Mm.
recording that little clip. So
And
yeah,
I
it's
think
a massive celebration. I'm very proud of what I've done, and I'm honored by to have them, feature me 2 years in a row.
I think that's really like what I was saying too, Roxanne, is I think that like we do the work. We're doing it a lot of times, like we said, just quietly in our four walls. We're working hard. People don't see the sleepless nights, the hours we're putting in, the tears we shed because we don't think it's working. Just like this,
Oh,
you
many
submitted
of
something.
those.
Yeah.
There's many of those. I'm sure
There's
you know as well.
oh, for sure. And then all of a sudden, like you get this gift, like with Tony and Dean mentioning you, and then doing, on screen in front of a million people, and then now in their magazine, it just takes a while for that pump to prime. And so I just want to honor that because it's a huge deal. It's a really big deal that
Thank
they
you.
mention you, and it's wonderful. You deserve all of that. You deserve all that, the credit. And on that note, you use the Mastermind Business Hub as your platform to launch your courses, to do the work that you're doing, to do these all these things that we do on the business side, the back end that people don't see, the other hard part,
Yeah,
right?
the other very, very hard part. Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
I did it all on my own. I'm a bootstrapped entrepreneur. Never been able to afford to pay somebody else to do it. But there's also a good thing in that you should always, as a business owner, be able to do everything in your own business because then you've got the control as well,
right.
and then hire people when you can. So we're getting to that point now. Q4, I should be in a position where I can start outsourcing certain things, but I've built it from the ground up. And the other thing
Mm.
is that you got to be careful as well. Anybody who's listening now who wants to build their own online business, don't try and perfect the color of your logo and the name of your brand and all, because at the end of the day all you're going to have is a logo. You don't
Right.
have a business. If it's not in profit, it's a glorified, hobby. You only
Right.
have a business when you're in profit, and you only have a brand when you actually have your message out there making a difference.
Right.
Otherwise, you just have a logo. I have changed my logo, I don't know how many times, which is why I laughed when you and I first started talking. I have changed the color of my branding, I don't know how many times. And I spend so much time trying to make my funnels look perfect, my website look perfect. And in the end, Mastermind showcased the worst version of what I actually created, but it was a successful version. Like it was actually a successful one. Everything worked. People called, booked calls. I got clients off that. It worked, but
Right.
I'm still perfecting it.
Right.
And so just focus on whatever your message is, whatever you have figured out how to do. You only need to be one step ahead of the
Mm.
person who doesn't know how to do it in order for you to be the expert. And that is a fact. You
Mm.
only need to be one step ahead, not 100.
Right.
So if I could give my younger self, any advice, when you start out, don't try and make it look pretty. Just make the systems work, the mechanics. So make sure
Yeah.
everything talks to everything else on the back end, which is the
Right.
system. And then add your colors and stuff, as you got it going, but get money in the bank.
Mm.
Because I did it the wrong way, and I think a lot of us do it that way. We invest in the system, and then we spend so much time trying to make our logo look pretty and the name look right that we don't actually impact lives. We don't change the world. And that's actually why we're doing it. So that'll come, that'll come, that'll come. So now, since
That's
I've been featured this month, I'm now trying to update my website and make it look pretty.
that's awesome. But that's such a golden nugget right there because I think for anyone listening in that is starting a business, we all do it backwards. We get so caught up in the way it looks, the logos, the colors, all of that, instead of focusing on just getting out there, doing it messy, just stepping forward, just serving, showing up, and the rest comes. The rest comes.
Hmm.
You kind of grow with what you're doing, but we all focus on the external first rather than internally just connecting with people. And
Absolutely.
those systems come and grow with us. And I always say to everybody, start with one that's easy. Don't make it hard, make it simple. I think the Business Hub is really fabulous, and you've
It
obviously
is. Plug and
used
play
it.
system. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And that's one Scott's using too. So it's been really, really great. So let's just shift a little bit. So if people want to work with you, what is the best way for them to get a hold of you? Kind of share a little bit. You've always have these amazing challenges that you do, your bounce back body challenges and things that you do. Where would you recommend I know you've got some things coming up. So kind of dive in a little bit. Tell people, tell women where they can reach out to you, where they can connect with you. You are just so intelligent, so kind, so servant hearted, and just a gift. So where can they connect with you? Let's talk about
Thank
that.
you, Terry. Thank you. So yes, July I will be hosting a breakthrough boot camp. I've been doing these 8-day gut reset challenges, which is like on a much smaller scale. I tend to do them every other month, but then about 2 times of the year, I do the breakthrough boot camp, which is on a much larger scale. I haven't actually done one in quite a while, and so that's coming up in July. It's also the birthday of my company. My company turns four
Wow.
next month. Yeah, 4 years
Woo!
old. I'm very, very happy. Yes, I turned 45 as well. So July, there's a lot of things happening in July, right? But the boot camp is going to be incredible, and it's not free. I'm no
Okay.
longer doing them free because
Yep.
people who register for free don't pitch. I'll
Right.
catch a replay. Do you want to spend your life catching a replay of your life, or do you want to
Right.
actually take action?
Right.
And so what I'm now doing is it's for about $100. You get your registration, and you actually get your gut test included.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, for
Wow.
$100, about a hundred
Okay.
bucks. So that is a really important step because then you can dive into the boot camp while your lab results are, being processed, and then, in like 2 weeks' time, you'll be able to sit down with your results. And if you decide after the boot camp that this is incredible, I so resonate with everything that you've taught in the boot camp, and I've been doing it for years now. It's just so much fun. It's
Yeah.
for men and women. I must just put that out there because everyone has a gut, and you
Right.
got to start with the gut. But I have very focused sessions for women only, so I branch out to other programs. And then I have a 6 month program, which is my flagship program. It's what I first started with. And we can always discuss if it's a good fit. I don't work with everybody. Some people want to be healthy, but they're just not ready to face what needs to be done yet.
Yep.
And I like to encourage everybody that we're all on our own journey, our own timeline. If you feel that it's not right for you, it's not because you don't want to be healthy. Who wouldn't want
Right.
to be healthy? It's just that you maybe know that there's a lot more trauma that you're going to have to deal with, and you're maybe not ready
Mm.
for that. And so we do a call. It's a free assessment call. I can help you jot out or create like a little blueprint on the phone. On the phone. Who does phone? Zoom. On Zoom. On the Zoom. I'll fax it to you after. On Zoom, we do a little session, and I'll talk. You fill in a form. There'll be a link. I'll give you a link which they can click on.
Okay.
And then they can book an assessment session with me, and we can actually go through the health issues. Like for you, Hashimoto's, you feel that you can't, break down fats as well as what Scott can. Maybe
Right.
there's some sleeping. There's a lot of things that people have that they don't realize is not normal. And they also don't realize that there's a connection between the symptoms and the root cause because we don't know
Mm.
that, right?
Right.
I now know that. So I
Mm.
can literally on a Zoom call say, okay, well, hang on. Your issue, based on what you said, based on what you diagnosed with or suspect you have, because I was
Right.
misdiagnosed with PCOS for 2 decades. Yeah. So you can't
Wow.
rely on your doctors only, and you also can't rely on blood tests. This is another thing. I just got to put this in there. Most of my clients come to me and say, "Oh no, I'm generally quite healthy," and I said, "Okay, well, let's unpack that a bit." And I just recently had my blood works done, and my doctor says everything's normal. I said, "Okay, well, let's unpack that a bit too. What blood test did you have?" Oh, so they didn't do a full screen; they do like a regular one, which is what
Right.
the doctors use. That's not going to tell you anything.
Right.
So it's not going to tell you what you need to know, should I rather say. Okay.
Mm.
There's different types of DNA samples. Your hair gives you different types of information to what blood does.
Mm.
So we'll map all of that out in the Zoom call, and I'll be able to tell you at the end of it if it's a good fit. Then we can discuss, costs. The costs are slightly different because some people might need methylation testing, some people might only need 3 months.
Right.
They think they're so sick, but in actual fact, this is an easy solution. This is what we need. We only need 3 months, and then some might need longer. So we can discuss that on the call as well. And if at the end you decide, okay, I either don't have the finances or I'm not sure I'm ready for this yet, because that also happens, right?
Yeah.
I find it's not time and money that people don't have enough of, because often it'll be one of the two, right? I either don't have enough time or I don't have enough money. It's
Right.
actually the fear of, I don't know if I have what it takes to do what you did.
Mm. Spot on.
So my job is very much mindset change. I
Yep.
show you when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Right.
So I teach you how to look at it all differently, how to get less overwhelmed, that it's actually okay, it's fixable, it's doable, you got this, I got you. And then at the end of the call, if you decide that this is right for us, then we can discuss a payment plan, or if you want to pay up front, there's lots of bonuses if you do that as well. Or if you just want to sign up for the boot camp coming up in July, you can do that too. So I like to find you where you're at
Okay.
mentally, financially, and physically,
Mm-hmm.
and then take you to your next step only. You only need to
Excellent.
know what your next step is. You don't need to see, there's a Winston Churchill, you don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to know what your next step is.
Mm.
Because when you get that next step done in the right direction, then the following step's a little bit easier, and then you gain momentum, and
Mm.
before you know it, you're unstoppable. I know because all my clients say that. So it works for everybody. I'm not the magic. Our bodies are the magic. I'm just a lighthouse. I figured it out, and I'll show you the way.
I
So
just
that's how you can reach me. Click on the link, book the session. We can unfold it. I can show you how it looks if you do it yourself, because we have a
okay.
do-it-yourself program as well that you can tap into. I can show you how it looks to work with me. You can fast track the process because that's my skill. I'm fast. I'm a fast track hacker. I've always been that way. I'm just really good at being able to see the problem and the solution and finding the quickest way between the two. Like
Awesome.
I'm just good at that. That's my skill.
Uh,
We're all born with a gift. That's mine. And I
yeah.
applied that to the human body and health. So I can show you how that looks, how much quicker you can heal, what kind of results you can get, and what the investment would then obviously be. So yeah, that's how people can reach me. But there's a whole
Wow.
lot coming up in July.
I,
It's a very exciting month.
I'm very
And I'm also
excited.
launching a franchise. I haven't told anybody that, by the
Wait,
way.
wait, wait, wait,
I've
wait,
only
wait.
told
What?
you.
Back up. Hold on. Time out. Say that again.
That just fell out. I've just started a second business. I'm in a partnership with another lady, also in the health industry. She's been doing, yeah, it's a whole other thing. But we basically taking my protocol, my signature system, and creating a brand and launching it as a franchise. So we are now creating a business in a box, which has pretty much end to end system built for you, plug and play. And then I'll give you my protocols and you teach you how to teach other people what I do. So basically it's
Wow,
like
Rox.
a coach's little business. So many people are wanting to learn how to be coaches, health. So many people are coming forward and going like, actually, we want this too. Like, where do I start? What supplements should I be using and teaching? And so I'm just going to fast track that entire process. So yeah, that franchise is launching in September. We're having our first event in England. There's luxury retreats coming as well. There's a lot
Wow,
happening.
this is so exciting because that was also part of it too for me. Well, let's just back up. First of all, I'll put everything here in the show notes where everyone can connect with you, and we all want to. This is so good. And secondly, with the business part of it, like it's just so much fun for me just to see like where you were. I mean, think about this 4 years ago to where you are now, and even that is fast track. The very fact that you're now at a point where you're going to franchise this
Hmm.
is super cool. Like that's so exciting. I just celebrate
Thank
that.
you. I
I
wasn't going to
just celebrate.
mention that. It just came out because I love talking to you and I just get so excited and now it just kind of fell out and I can't take that back, can I?
So you help the person, the woman, the human that
Yeah,
is having these gut
it's a
issues.
women's coaching program, so it's
Yeah.
for women. And I literally give you the business in a box system, and there's not finance, there's financial guidance. So my partner's got that expertise. She's had her own franchise business as well before, and so yeah, I've learned a hell of a lot from her. And so we both bring our entrepreneurial. I mean, this is my fifth business now, so I've had businesses before, and so I'm quite good at that whole setup. But then
Yeah.
I bring the whole healing aspect and the protocol. So I'll tell you exactly what the recipe is, how to teach it on, so it's easy. So we can reach so many more people so much quicker. Because that was my number
Mm,
one goal. I want to
mm,
be able to get my message out there to the millions. Didn't know how that looked though. 5 years
yeah.
ago, I just knew that I was going to do that.
Right.
And now, fast forward 5 years, I've figured out how to create an online, location independent, work from my phone wherever I go. And I can reach anybody with an internet access and find you
Yeah.
where you're at with your budget and just get you some kind of healing
Yeah.
to inspire you that it can be done. And so yeah, this is what we've now built. And now we're putting it into a box. And any coaches, anybody who wants to learn how to have their own business in the health industry, that wants to know how to actually heal properly, quickly,
Mm.
so that you can live younger for longer.
This is
That's what I'm
so
doing.
good. So anyone that wants to reach out, you can work with you one on one to heal their own body, and then also anyone that's looking to coach and start this business themselves to teach others. You've got both components of this. So I want everyone to make sure you're following along, stay connected to Roxanne because good things are coming, not only in July but September as well. I'm so proud of you. I'm just so excited,
Thank you,
and I just
Terry.
thank you for your time. Before we depart, one of the things I just wanted to ask is tell us a fun fact about yourself, something that we don't know. Um, you've shared a
A,
lot. So is there a
a
fun
fun.
fact? Yeah, something quirky, something silly, something you
I
love that we
forgot that
don't
was a
know.
question. Hey, oh gosh. A fun fact about myself.
Or just something quirky that you want us to know.
I
Uh,
actually almost feel like I can't remember a fun fact about myself. How sad is that?
yeah,
Too sorry. I don't even know what to say.
that's okay.
That is actually
Something
quite
you
sad.
love to do, something
What do I
lights
love
you
to
up.
do? I'm not sure if you're going to want to put this in there. What do I love to do? I love to spend an entire day cooking up a storm in my kitchen with a really good bottle of wine, playing music, dancing like no one's watching. That is my ultimate jam. Like when people like to go shopping for handbags and shoes, and you can still put this in there, by the way. My thing is I get excited when I go grocery shopping. I smell the food and I can't wait to cook a new recipe. And then I get stuck into my kitchen and I play music and I drink wine, probably too much. Feel like crap the next day, but I bounce back quicker. But that's what I love to do. And I had my own
Ah,
catering company when I was younger as well. I was in hospitality, and so I'm a big
wow.
foodie. I don't know
Well,
if that's
and
fun, but that's my
that's
fun. People buy
that
handbags and shoes, and I buy food.
But you know what's amazing about that too is that even hearing you talk about that you drink wine, like anybody that's stuck in trying to figure out what's next in their health and all that, that it's okay, that we can enjoy our life, that we can have fun, that we're meant here to enjoy food. We're meant to enjoy,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. Because if you want to come to me for coaching, I'm not going to be the person to say that you need to cut out every single thing that you
Yeah.
enjoy because it's a recipe for disaster. I am going to, however, tell you of some great fast track hacks to avoid putting more toxins into your body. So when you do happen to go out, I love whiskey. My husband's got the fire lit right now. We finished early today and we're going to go have a nice barbecue, which we call it a braai. In South Africa, it's a braai, which is real wood fire and you put your
Ah,
meat on top. And I love to drink lots of whiskey with soda. Not lots of
ah,
whiskey, but over the afternoon and night. And so no, there's a time and place for everything though. And it's
mm,
all about 80-20 principle. I teach all my clients how to adapt the 80-20 principle. If you are doing this right 80% of the time, Monday to Friday, for example, although mine looks like a Sunday to a Thursday. So Sunday to Thursday, I try and avoid alcohol and I try, get prioritize my sleep because that does
yeah.
a whole lot of other things. But then on Friday and Saturday, if it falls to the wall because we go out with friends, you're going to pay the price next day. I'll make sure I'm not working or going on camera. Like, just that's my 20%. That's my
This
20.
is, I love this, Roxanne. This was meant to be dropped in here because I think so many people listening in, we're so black and white. Our world, we all want these formulas, and we're supposed to live life and have fun and have connection and have community and
It's
enjoy a glass of
exactly that.
wine.
It's
It's not
exactly
bad.
that. But you need to make sure that you're drinking real wine, not wine
Right.
from the shop or wine from some fancy wine estate. I mean, I'm from Cape Town,
Yeah.
South Africa, Cape Town, which is where all the wine farms are. Unfortunately, you get processed wine too, just like
Right.
processed food. And so when you learn how to avoid the chemical crap
Right.
in alcohol, food, medication, your environment. Just that. You can
Yeah.
get away with enjoying without paying the price. Yeah, I teach you how to reintroduce certain things so at the end of it, it is sustainable. It's long-term achievable. It can be done by anybody and it's by having fun.
I love that. And Scott has learned to drink non-additive tequila. That's what he can tolerate, his body can tolerate. So
You
very
see, it's
much,
the additives and the
yep.
preservatives that are the issue. And coffee and chocolate, by the way, just to put this in there too, is two of the most healthiest things to consume. Chocolate actually activates stem cells. Real chocolate, though, not the chocolate crap you buy from the shop. Real cacao, real chocolates is
Ah,
actually very important. There's loaded with polyphenols. And coffee itself needs to be mycotoxin free, not just organic. Mycotoxins are little mold that you can't see with the naked eye that ruin your hormones. So it's actually not the chocolate itself and the coffee itself. Coffee is loaded with polyphenols, very, very healthy for you. Caffeine also has a role.
mm,
So,
mm.
so even nicotine, by the way, did you know? So I'm not saying that you can go smoke your cigarettes, but if you do
Right.
smoke, don't go buy cigarettes. Rather roll tobacco, because
Wow.
tobacco, that's real. Cigarettes are processed. So it's actually, do you see how
Oh,
it's
so
everything is a
good.
bad rap? Scott
Right.
always Scott always said when it comes to food, it's not the cow, it's the how. I'll never forget when he said that. It's now stuck with me.
Wow.
It's not the cow that's the problem. Red meat's
Yeah.
very healthy for you, by the way, extremely healthy for you, especially for your gut. It's
Mm,
how the cow was farmed,
yeah.
fed, prepared, and packaged that makes the
Right.
problem. So I also teach on that.
Right. Oh, I love that. We're going to end on that. It's so amazing. I'm going to enjoy my additive free tequila.
I'm going
I'm
to
going to get
enjoy
my,
my clean whiskey with my good steak on the braai.
oh, so good. So I want everybody, please follow Roxanne. You can see just how smart she is and what she's learned. What a gift. So whether you're needing your own support in your own health, dive into uh, her bounce back body. I guess your new challenge. It'll be here in
Yes,
July.
my Bounceback Body Breakthrough Challenge that's coming up in July. But on the website link, you'll first be able to book an assessment call with me just so we can have a chat
Perfect.
and see if it's even for you. Because if you're on certain medication and you have certain health conditions, then you might want to, do things a little bit differently. So it is important actually to book that call.
Perfect.
It's not
Yep.
a sales call. It's an informative session that you can at least just get some direction.
Perfect. And everybody can see how much you care. So I'll put all that here in the show notes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for your
Oh,
time. I cannot wait for this to air. You dropped so many golden nuggets. So thank you for your time and your wisdom and your love. I'm just so grateful.
thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for showing up. If this episode resonates with you, please share it with a friend, someone that might need a little bit of encouragement today. And if you could be so kind just to take a moment and leave me a review, I would love that. This helps other women know what we are doing here in this space and helps them find this podcast. Because as I said in the beginning, my goal is to help you feel a little bit of inspiration each day and to step forward. And I'm here if you need some extra support with the coaching, with my Elevate coaching, and with my Speak class. Keep stepping forward. God bless.